Hey, Shalom. Kohalo Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakal Kadash, for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. And in this lesson, I want to go on what's going over there in the land of Israel, man. Um, the Most High is bringing judgment to those heathens, those false people of the land. You can't say certain things on YouTube. They get hurt, they get in their feelings. But hey, the truth is the truth. And what you see going on over there in the land of Israel is judgment from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Right? Because those people in that land over there, they don't belong in that land. The people who that land belongs to are the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right? And as we speak, the Most High is judging that land as well as the people in the land, because the land is defiled, right? The land is defiled, man. Over there, they have rainbow parades, and you know, they eat abominable foods over there, and all types of stuff, man. And they know they're not the people of the land. That was uh, uh, they was put in that land, 1948, during the Balfour Declaration, right, by way of the elites, right? They were put in that land. So Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to, you know, basically, judge them all for that, and on top of a whole bunch of other things. But all hell is breaking loose over there because this new judicial overhaul bill was just passed, and it's taking the power out of the Supreme Court and straight to the government. Now, if anybody's been following the government and the Supreme Court, they've had a difference of opinion, right? And the courts, they would seem to be for the people, but the government is for their own agenda, as all governments, through their under the misconception of democracy and things of that sort. So what you got is people are fed up, and this is just a sign of what's to come for America, because America is due for a overhaul of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. Right? Because all of this stems from, you know, uh, the Biden administration, Trump. They've been giving Israel billions of dollars, right? Every year, to keep that country up, which they try to go in to the Bible, and it says when it says, curse them that curse you and bless them that bless you. But that's not talking about the land. That's talking about the people, right? And those are not the people of the land. So, without further ado, let me get the scripture, and then we're going to play this. This is Isaiah. Let's get Isaiah, right? Chapter 1. Right? Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 7. And it reads, Isaiah chapter 1, verse 7. It says, Your country is desolate, right? Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your land, strangers devour it in your presence. Who are those strangers? So called white man over there, especially Amalek, you know, the small hatters, you know, the 1948ers that were put in that land in 1948, they will be the strangers, right? Right? It says, strangers devour it in your presence. Yeah, we see what's going on over there in the land. That land is being devoured in every way, man. Right? There ain't no telling what they're doing. They showing us certain things on through media, but there's a lot more going on over there. Right? A lot more. So it says, and it is desolate and overthrown by strangers. Right? So you got people over there fighting and going back and forth and getting physical and no, this is not right and that's not right, but none of you people belong in that land, man. None of you small hatters belong in that land, right? And you gonna get out of that land. Why? Because that land belongs not to you. That land does not belong to you, man. So without any further ado, we're gonna get into this. Yahbashim Al Shah, what an elected edified. Check this out. Shalom.
Breaking news out of Jerusalem at this hour, final vote on that controversial bill for the judicial system overhaul. CNN's Hadass Gold is live for us now with the very latest. So Hadass, the vote, we were talking about the vote moving up a little more quickly than anticipated.
Yeah, the vote has actually now passed 64-0. This vote that will take away the Supreme Court's ability to stop government actions, declaring them unreasonable. It has passed. The reason it was 64-0 is because all the members of the opposition left the floor in protest to this vote. We are just outside the Supreme Court. Organizers here have set up big screens so that protesters can see what's happening on the Parliament, and you can hear that they are getting very loud, and they are actually all starting to walk down towards the Parliament building. They don't seem to be indicating that they're going to be leaving anytime soon, despite the fact that this passed. It appears that all attempts at last-minute negotiations failed. We know that there was lots of back and forth with the coalition and opposition to try to negotiate potentially a delay. Those appear to have failed. The government has managed to pass the first aspect of this massive judicial overhaul. This isn't the only part of the judicial overhaul. It's one bill of several. We're seeing on the screens of what's happening on the Parliament floor, coalition members congratulating each other, including Benjamin Netanyahu, just out of the hospital, actually, for a pacemaker that was just installed. He literally left the hospital this morning and came straight to the Parliament when this vote passed. Now, this does not mean necessarily that starting at this very moment, the Supreme Court cannot stop government actions. There are still several steps that need to be taken. And ironically, one of those steps is most likely an immediate legal challenge to this legislation, which will ironically be heard in front of the Supreme Court likely. Now, if the Supreme Court decides that this legislation cannot stand because it is ironically unreasonable in their eyes, then we are set up here for a major political crisis here for a country that has no written constitution. That's partly what's the issue here. Now, for these protesters, this passing, this they believe is the beginning of the end of an independent judiciary. This they believe is the beginning of government having unfettered power to do what it wants, because the Supreme Court is the only check on the government power here. I don't think that these protesters are going home anytime soon. I have a feeling we're going to be in for a very eventful next few hours as these protesters get potentially even more riled up, guys.
Hadass, what will happen now?
So you heard it, man. Like, hey, man, they're doing a bunch of protesting, and this was going on in New York, man. New York City. I was driving and I was going over the bridge, and man, I seen them walking, across the bridge, holding up, these Israeli flags, man. Right? So, these people, man, they have no clue, man, what's about to happen. Right? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is about to bring full judgment to, You small hazards, man, because everybody over there would say that they are the people, right? But they're not the people, man, right? Neither do we give a damn what's going on with them over there, right? But I'm just bringing light to it because I'm showing you, man, this is the end. This is the end, man, right? And this is not just happening in Israel. This is happening in India, China, Japan, Ukraine, Russia. This thing is worldwide, man. People are upset. People are going crazy because they're realizing that their governments are corrupt and they have no wins, man. So what's gonna eventually happen? The modern day sword gonna come out, right? Esau gonna get his blessing, man, and it's gonna trickle over here. Trust me, it's gonna trickle over here to the shores of America, man. And these other countries, they don't hold arms like people have arms in America, man. Everybody has a damn a gun, man. So people are going to go berserk, man. People are gonna, especially Esau Edom, the so-called white man, when he feels like, you know, his country, which is not his country, right? When he feels like all else has failed and everything is lost, hey, he just gonna grab his blessing and he gonna go to work, right? So, hey, man, this we in the end, man. This is beautiful times, man. That you got to look at, man. You may not think that this is of any substance or it's not important. It's very important, man, because that's our land over there, and it's gonna be destroyed and it's gonna be built back up by these people that you see on the screen, man. This is 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. And he answered me then and said, measure thou sign diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, right? So how do you measure the time, man? You don't get a stopwatch and stopping and measure the time like that. No, you measure the time through the scriptures, man, through prophecy, right? And you can see what time you're living in, man. Right? So once again, the Lord said in 2 Ezra 9 and 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right? So this is where you see Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua visiting the earth, man. The Lord visits the earth through destruction, through pain, through judgment, right? It says, therefore, when thou shalt see, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. So when you see uproars of the people in the world, hey, you know we at the end, man. And this is, like I said, this is not just in Israel. This is all over, man. Right? It says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High, Yahweh, spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, man. So the Lord said these things were going to happen in the beginning, and now you see it manifesting and playing out in the end. Right? So it says, for like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Right? The Lord said that the Israelites will begin to wake up at the end, man. Right? During the time of the end. Right? So it says, even so the times also of the highest had plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, man. How the earth was created, creation was created, man, women, the animals, things like that. Right? Those are wonders and powerful works. And the endings and effects and signs, man. you see the ending in effects and signs, right? Signs like this, effects in the world that bring people to this spirit, man. Right? You know, so hey, man, that's what you got going on, and the Lord ain't stopping, man. He just getting started. You other nations, you in trouble, man, for what you did to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. How you just set up systems in every country to oppress them, man. And what did the Lord say in Baruch? He said, let me get that, matter of fact. Salaki. This is Baruch, right? Chapter 4 and verse 32. Salaki, I'm gonna start at 31. Salaki, I'm gonna start at 30, man. This whole chapter is bad, man. It said, take a good heart, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem, that's the people. That signifies the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, man. It says, for he that have gave thee that name will comfort thee. Miserable are they that afflicted thee. And who afflicted us? All these nations, man. Starting with the so-called white man on down to you so-called Africans, man. You Hamites, man. Right? It said, miserable are they that afflicted thee and rejoiced at thy fall. Yeah, they were happy when we fell. Right? Right? They said what? They said, let this, if there be no error in this people, let us stay away from them. But if they sin against their God, let us paraphrasing, let us basically understand that this is their fault, man. Right? Right? They're not dealing with their power, man. Their power not dealing with them. So basically, we can do whatever we want to them, man. But nah, you have no understanding. Right? It says, miserable are the cities which thy children served. Right? Over there in Israel, you got Israelites over there, man. And I bet you, I ain't going to bet. But if I was a betting man, I would bet that they are the worst treated over there, man. Right? So it says, miserable are the cities which thy children serve. Miserable is she that received thy sons. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation, man. So now you're going to pay the piper, man. Now you're going to pay the price for what you did to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Right? So it says, for I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. And this is the Holy Land, man. Right? But right now it's the unholy land. Right? It still is the Holy Land, but with these people on it is the unholy land, man. And the Lord gonna do away with it, man, and build it, and it's gonna be built back up in its beauty. And who gonna inhabit it? The true people of the land, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites, man. That's who's gonna take hold of that land and the whole earth, man. The whole earth. We're gonna govern the whole earth under the spirit, power, and the laws of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. If you don't want to get down, you're gonna lay down, man. Let's continue.
Because Benjamin Netanyahu and those who supported it said the judiciary needed reform. It had too much power. Opponents say if you take away this sole check on the government, then you essentially have a dictatorship. So now exactly what happens once these bills pass?
So most likely what will happen, well, we know the Israel Bar Association has said they're going to file an immediate petition in front of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court can file an injunction, a temporary injunction, stopping the legislation from being enforced. Now, that might happen. We have a feeling that that will happen. And then there will be a legal battle in front of the Supreme Court about whether this can stand. There's a lot of unanswered legal questions here, meddling questions here about what the legality of this will be. And I think also in the more immediate will be, keep in mind, thousands of military reservists have said they will not heed the call to serve if this legislation passes. This legislation has now passed. So now we're going to see whether they're going to live up to that pledge, whether if they get called up for service. If something happens on the north with Lebanon, if something happens with Gaza, if something happens even with Iran, will they call up, will they heed the call to get into their jets, to get into their tanks, and serve as per their military reserve duty? And if they don't, will they be arrested? Will there be legal ramifications for them? These are all the questions now on the table because this legislation has now passed.
So you heard it. So you got the military over there saying if they pass this law, they're not fighting. They're not gonna go in service, man. And you heard the countries, Iran, over there in Lebanon, the Gaza Strip, they've been going at it with so-called, Arabs, the Ishmaelites, right? Which they don't belong over there either, right? So you got a whole lot of stuff going on, man. You got a whole lot of stuff going on, right? And she's saying, oh, if they don't go to war, will they get arrested, right? So they feeling like the military feeling like, hey, you're not looking out for us, so we're not looking out for you. And this is the whole separation between Esau, Edom, Satan casting out Satan, right? That's what this is about, man. Right?
All right. Watching it very closely, Israel, of course, one of this country's closest allies. President Biden, of course, was very direct in where he stands on this and what he thinks should happen. Those words may have been heard, but it didn't certainly change anything, Hadas.
No, it didn't. And we've heard from President Biden now twice in the past week, urging Netanyahu, urging Israeli leaders, take a step back, take time to come to a consensus. There's no need to rush this, have a negotiation. But clearly that pressure didn't seem to have much an effect. Now, remember, Benjamin Netanyahu has not yet been invited to the White House, not been yet invited officially for that big White House visit. This judicial overhaul was one of those potential reasons why. Now, we did hear from President Biden saying that they do, from the White House saying that they do expect Netanyahu and Biden to meet sometime in the U.S. soon. Now the question will be, this legislation has passed. There was no compromise negotiation. Will that invitation still stand? How will this affect U.S.-Israel relationships? The Israelis have been saying for the longest time, this is our own internal debate. This has nothing to do with the United States. Our partnership with the United States is strong, especially when it comes to security issues. There's a lot of questions, though, now hanging, especially with all these military reservists saying that they will not serve. We have yet to hear, of course, from the White House on this legislation passing, since this has just happened in the last few minutes. But it could very easily affect U.S.-Israeli relations right now with all of this legal, political questions going on.
Absolutely. Hadas, I really appreciate the report.
So yeah, there it is, man. I wanted to get this to show you a little bit more what's going on over there. Right, Slovakia, a little bit more. What's going on over there? Bear with me. Bear with me. All right. Check this out. This is what's going on. This was 12 hours ago. All right. I'm just going to play it. Hey, there it is, man. You see what they're doing? They're going crazy over there, man. Right? Let me get two more. We're going to shut it down. This is Luke chapter 21. I'm going to start at 22. It says, for these be the days of vengeance. Right? The Lord said, these be the days of vengeance, right? It says, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive unto all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. We are living in the times where the times of the Gentiles is being fulfilled, man. Right? That we damn near at the end, man. Right? We at the end, man. Right? So let's continue. This is 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations. Right? When you go into that word distress, it means agony, right? It means agony, anguish, suffering, pain, ache, affliction, torment, right? That's what distress is. So these nations, they are all in distress, man. Right? It says, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, man. What's coming on the earth? Destruction, death, plagues, famine, pestilence, right? These people have not a clue what Yahweh Shem Yahushua is about to do to them, man. Along with 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans for your wickedness as well, right? So it says, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken, man. Yeah, the government, right? The leadership, the kingdom holders, right? The elites, right? This power is about to be shaken, man. Their power is about to be shaken. And it is being shaken, man. They don't know what to do. Right? But you see how now it's just, you got water cannons, you got billy clubs, things like that. But soon it's gonna get real bloody. It's gonna get real deadly, man. Right? This will be my last one. We're gonna shut it down. This second Ezra 13 and verse 29. It says, behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. Deliver who? Right? The nation of Israel, man. Right? The Most High is turning, back to us, man. Right? It says, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth, man. He's going to come to an astonishment because when they see what the Lord really looks like and that he's not a so-called white man and he doesn't have blue eyes and blonde hair, right? And he's a so-called Negro, which if you walk the earth, you will call him a nigger, right? You're going to be astonished, man. You're going to be in terrible fear, right? It says, and one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. So it's going to be war on all levels, man. Civil war, class war, a war in the heavens, right? That's what we're coming into. So, hey, man, this is a beautiful time. These are beautiful times. Hey, you got to be girded up with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Lord, man. Put on the whole armor that you may be able to stand in these days, man, because it's gonna get very, very serious out here, man. Right? So I just wanted to go into that. Yahweh Shem Yahushua, willing to elect was edified. Until next time, Israel, love y'all. Shalom.